Welcome to this edition of Let's Chat America with your radio host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. This weekly program opens the phone lines for you to call in live and share your questions or comments. On this program, we discuss the latest news and opinions of things that may affect the lives of those here in Daytona Beach and the nation. So join Dr. Durham for today's program.
The following show is a sponsor of Joy 106.3. Joy 106.3 is parent company Rima Broadcasting Inc. Its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statement made by the talk show hosts, callers, or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this radio station.
Good afternoon, beloved, and welcome to this edition of Let's Chat America. I am your radio host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. My co-host, Maureen, is on assignment today, so I am handling the duties all myself. Tyler is our studio engineer. She is behind the board, making sure you can hear me and we can hear you if you were to call in. Those of you on Facebook, we're happy to see you coming in. We know you're coming in from all over the United States and sometimes from around the world. You know what to do. Today's program, we've got a great program for you today. And if you'd like to call in, you know what to do. Pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers, 386-868-3411. That's 386-868-3411. Tyler will bring you in. You can have a question or a comment concerning today's topic. Really, you can anything you want to talk about. Just the phone line will be open if you want to talk about something different. I think my guest will probably take up the program today. And if you miss any portion of the program, it is going to be recorded on Facebook. We'll probably get it on our Facebook page, Let's Chat America Facebook page later sometime today. And you can go back, look at it, and get the information you need. Well, as I mentioned, my guests today are live in the studio with me, and I am glad that they are here, because one of the best kept secrets in Volusia County is what we're going to talk about today, and that is American Legion Orange Baker Post 187. If you've never heard of it, you're going to learn all about it today. Today's program is really educational. As a matter of fact, why don't you text somebody, or if you're on Facebook, hit that share button on Facebook so all your friends can see the broadcast as well, because this is going to be really an educational piece for you today to learn about what I think is much needed when it comes to remembering the contributions that were made by African Americans to this country really over the centuries, from the Revolutionary War and to the conflicts that are going on in places right now where soldiers are serving this nation. My guests today, let me give you their names. Rashida Denning and her husband, Brian Denning, are my guests today. Welcome to Let's Chat America. Folks, we're happy to have you on the program.
Pleasure to be here.
Good to see you both, and we've got a lot to talk about. And I'm so happy to have you, because we've been thinking about having you come on. I've been talking to Chuck off and on about having the Post come on to tell people what you do and how you do it, and finally you're here. So this has been a long time in the making. So let's get started. And as I said to all of you who are listening, whether you're home, you're at your office, maybe you're on your lunch break, listen, you want to get this information, because before they leave here, they're going to tell you how you can go visit and be a great part of what it is that they're doing right here in Volusia County. So let's get started. It's American Legion Orange Baker Post 187, and it's historic. Can you tell us a little bit about the Orange Baker Post and the American Legion Post that both of you are part of?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm going to let him do the museum part.
Okay.
I'm the post commander,
All
the
right.
first female post commander.
Well, congratulations.
Of our Orange Baker Post.
Nice. That's very nice. Historic. That is historic.
And I'm the basically the first vice and the historian of the Post. So it was truly an undertaking when we actually got there, because I've never been in the American Legion before, so I didn't know how it actually operated. And I was one of those people who was skeptical of being around military personnel after you get out.
Right.
And I understand soldiers are getting to that where they don't want to join or they don't want to be a part of. But once my wife showed me that, hey, this is something we could actually do, to help us. Yep. To help us military-wise. Right. Because there's a lot of information if you're in the union. You like being in the union. American Legion's like that for the government. It's a lot of information that can help you advance your medical issues or any kind of issues you have that you have from combat.
That's right.
So,
because veterans receive an awful lot of benefits once they're done with their service time. Those benefits follow them for the rest of their lives in a lot of cases. And I've seen veterans who they just don't know how to access some of those benefits. They don't know what they're entitled to in a whole lot of cases. And so it's good to have organizations like yours that can kind of give them what they need and almost hold their hand and guide them sometimes through the process to get these benefits. So it's Orange Baker Post. So I guess the next obvious question is,
who is Orange Baker?
Who is Orange Baker?
Right.
Well, Orange Baker was he basically was a private in World War I. I'm not sure how he got connected in the whole deal.
Right.
But when they came together, they decided to name it after him.
Okay.
They named the post after him. He actually passed away in 1936.
Is that right?
Yes. So he was he was a World War I laborer vet. So.
And I say he's a hometown hero.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously left a tremendous impression on somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All of those founding members.
Yeah. To have the post named after him. That's really incredible.
Right.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Let's Chat America. We are the #1 radio broadcast every Thursday and Friday, right here, broadcasting from the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. My guests today are representing American Legion Post, Orange Baker Post 187. Let me get it right. And they're going to share with you a lot of great information about what they do, how you might be able to kind of link up with them and help their mission to be accomplished. If you'd like to call in, pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers, 386-868-3411. That's 386-868-3411. Tyler is working the board today as our studio engineer. She's on it. If you pick up the phone and call, she'll get you in live, and you can hear your own voice across America. So what makes it's a museum,
yes,
as well as an American Legion Post. What makes the museum kind of unique, I guess, in the state of Florida, or even nationally? Because there is a Veterans Museum right here in Daytona Beach, that some people don't even know about. So what kind of makes your museum that much more unique?
Historian.
Well,
Historian. The historian.
I look at it like this. What makes it real unique, two things. One is coming at from a black perspective.
There you go. Okay.
Well, we are emphasizing on black soldiers that actually were in battles you don't know anything about, but they were actually superheroes.
Yeah.
And then two, it's got a mobile museum that's attached to it. So we actually can go out with our museum and go to different locations to show, that if you can't make it to us, we can come to you if needed be. And we do that once a year. And for middle school, for DeLand Middle School, we take it in there and we present the museum to them, and they can actually see what we're talking about. We bring artifacts in, they can put their hands on. So that's what makes it unique. I know there's a lot of different museums around, but I've been around to different museums around the country, and you often see the same thing, or you'll see same heroes in different museums.
Right.
But we try to emphasize on people that you don't know anything about.
There you go.
That was, exceptional. Right. They all Rambos. It's like I call them.
They're all Rambos.
They're all Rambos.
All right.
And I tell you something about it, you'd be like, what? They did what? All right. They all Rambos.
Okay. All right.
But that's what we feel that makes it unique.
And I love that because you kind of piggybacked on what I was going to ask you next, and that is when people get to the museum, because your artifacts really span from the Revolutionary War through the Gulf War. So what kind of give us a visual when you walk into the museum? Kind of give us a visual of what people actually see when they get inside.
Well, when you walk through the door, I mean, we have it set up where you're starting at, and I guess I make this as a misnomer because the Revolutionary War portion of it is actually starting when we have the mobile museum portion of it, because in the building itself is standing army soldiers.
Okay.
It's a standing army from the Civil. So it starts at the Civil War, and they'll start all the way to the Civil War, all the way to the Gulf War.
Okay.
So when you walk in, you'll see 4 different boxes, which will have the displays of the different war eras, dates, and you'll see the Civil War soldiers as a unit, 54th. You'll see the Buffalo soldiers below as a unit, and when you're going down the hall or going down the wall, we actually have the 6888 up there on the wall. The female with it.
Oh,
if you want to see it from Netflix,
great movie. Yeah,
if you want to see it from
absolutely.
Netflix, you can go see that.
Yeah.
But we have their display in the building on the wall going down, and we get to World War One, and you'll see some of the great people that were in World War One. And then you'll see some. And let me go back and come back to the Civil War.
Sure.
Let me tell you about a guy. This is what I'm talking about, the hero.
Okay.
Heroes. This guy in the Civil War's name was Miles James. Now this guy was in battle, got his arm cut off in battle,
Wow.
on the battlefield, tied himself up, and kept on fighting
Oh, my
with
goodness.
one arm.
Wow.
Who does that?
Amazing.
Who does that?
That's amazing.
I mean, and fight and win.
Wow.
Who does that?
Incredible.
I ain't seen Rambo do that.
No, I didn't see Rambo
1,
do
2,
that.
or 3. Now Rambo took a shot in the side. He pulled it out
Right.
with the music. Miles James didn't have that.
No music.
No music.
Okay.
But who does that?
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Now,
Amputated right on the battlefield.
Wow.
yeah. Now, who does that? Now, in World War One, we have another guy, Henry Johnson. Now, this guy was badder than bad. You want him? And he kind of reminds me of my father.
Okay.
But my father was crazy like that too.
All right.
All right. Henry Johnson was on the battlefield in France. This guy he was doing a patrol, and back then the Germans had raiding patrols, right? So it was 12 guys came out and attacked him and his partner. Now his partner got wounded, and he ran out of ammo. He went to go get his partner back, the other soldier that was with him. He didn't have any ammo, so he pulled a knife out and started fighting. And he fought the 2 guys that was trying to take his partner capture. And he fought the other 20, it was a total of 30 people
Wow.
that he took out that night with a knife.
With a knife.
Come on, you know
I
he had
need that guy with me
Yeah.
when I'm walking some of these
he had
streets.
to be working at a fish, chicken, pork chop, somewhere west of there.
The barbecue shop.
Yeah, barbecue, barbershop, something. I mean, but this guy,
Yeah.
not only that, he won the French Medal of Honor and the American Medal of Honor for that.
Wow. So he had a
The
Croix de
Croix de
Guerre.
Guerre.
Yeah.
Yep, he had the Croix de Guerre plus the American Medal of Honor.
Awesome.
That's tough, right there.
That's the tough guy. That's the guy you want standing next to you
Yeah.
when you about to get in a fight.
Yeah, straight up. And then you swing back around to the other side and you start going into World War II. Now, in World War II, you had a guy named Edward Carter Jr., tank commander. He got hit by a bazooka. And basically he had to cross a field. You know, and he was getting pinned down by the Germans, so he had to fight his way across. But he was another guy. He took out 6 people on the battlefield, shot 5 times. I mean, it's just
Incredible.
who does this stuff?
It's amazing.
I've been to Washington D.C. I've been to Alabama. I've been to Virginia. We travel around the country. You don't never see anything about the kind of obstacles that African Americans fought through while in service, on the battlefield, in life, in the military.
Yeah.
Because remember now, they had to actually do it on their own because they didn't have the opportunity to be integrated till 1951.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it was tough.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. And if you're just tuning in, you're wondering what in the world are they talking about? We are talking about an awesome museum right here in Volusia County that honors the achievements and the accomplishments of African Americans who have fought in just about every single war that this nation has been involved in. And they're going to tell you a little bit more about the museum. They're going to tell you where it's located. We're going to give you all that information. Just hang in there. But already I've learned some things that I've never known before. So you got to get this information. You got to take a trip over there, and you've got to support this great organization. It's American Legion Orange Baker Post 187. If you'd like to call in, you can do that. Pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers, 386-868-3411. That's 386-868-3411. And for those of you who aren't doing anything on Sunday morning, come on over to Tubman King Community Church, 1090 George W. Ingram Boulevard, right here in the City Gorgeous. I will be preaching Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you there. So let's get into some of the educational, I guess, and the mission of your organization, because you make a tremendous impact on the community. And I think people need to know that. So how does the museum serve our local schools? And also, I know you do some homeschooling with communities as well.
Right, absolutely. So with the schools, the mobile museum, we go out to the different schools. If we are requested, we can go to churches, wherever you need us. You can request for the mobile museum to come out, but we have different programs that we set up banners and everything so that they can see throughout, like we said, from the Revolutionary War all the way through.
Wow.
And so we have hands-on activities and things for the students, and they really enjoy that. And then we have a presentation. So that's some of the outreach that we do with that. But they can also come. So the schools can come and visit us, can learn about the phonetic alphabet. They can learn, see videos of different soldiers on our television era. They can scan QR codes and get more information. We have all of the signage and everything in there as well. So there's lots of different ways to do that. So, and we definitely love homeschoolers.
All right. I think that's
go on to tell support.
Yeah, homeschooling is taking on really a life of its own, and more families are doing a lot of homeschooling.
Yeah, and so we want to make sure that they understand that that's a viable way to educate your child, and so wearing another hat, we are founders. I'm the founder of Black Homeschoolers in Central Florida. My husband and I, and we've been around since 2009. So, so if you need us. We are located in DeLand as well. We have a homeschool resource center there, and we're opening a learning center. And if you are interested in homeschooling, we are there. We are there.
All right. And I'm going to have you give some contact information toward the end of the program so people can get a hold of you, not just for the museum, but for your homeschooling program as well, which I think is really important. And when we're talking about educating young people, we have a governor who is doing everything he can to remove books out of the classroom, and a president who is also who has also lost his mind and is doing everything that he can to suppress African American history. So why is it so important for young people to know, particularly if they are African Americans, to know more about their history?
Well, I feel it's more important because before Barack Obama became president, you could only dream it.
Right.
You could always say, well, I could be president one day, but you can actually do it once he did it. So you give them the vision,
right,
of showing that, hey, it can be done.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think that, homeschooling is very important. We need to make sure we're showing the kids And we should know, as parents, we should always be trying to make sure we teach our kids what's going on. Don't let I always tell my kids, my son, don't be educated by your friends. They're the same age. They don't know anything.
Right.
They don't know what
Anything.
you talk.
Right.
You need to ask your parents, find somebody you can trust to tell you the truth, because that's what you want.
That is so true.
Don't let I know you might not want to tell me what's going on in your life, but hey, that's no problem. But don't be listening to somebody who is the same age, don't know nothing either.
Right.
Because you're going there the blind leading the blind.
There you go. There you go.
And that's the flat out truth.
We have educational materials there, so we have books, and the history is not only preserved through the museum, but through different books and voice things that we're doing with the veterans as well. And then at the Homeschool Resource Center, we have a resource store, and so we've created our own unit studies, like on African American military history, and you can find the books and things there. But we have 13 unit studies that we've created, and you can find. So if you're looking for materials that deal with our history, you can find it all there.
That is really awesome. 386-868-3411 is the live call-in number. 386-868-3411. I am talking today with Rashida Denning and Brian Denning, and we're talking about the American Legion Orange Baker Post 187 that houses a great museum that deals with, from the perspective of African Americans' contributions to wars that this country has gone through. And we have been in every single major conflict that this country has endured, and with valor and distinction have served the United States of America. For those of you on Facebook, if you have a question you'd like me to present to either Rashida or Brian, put it on Facebook. Tyler is monitoring the Facebook feed, and we'll get it on the air. If you missed any portion of the program, we're going to get this on our Facebook Let's Chat America page later today. You can rewind it, and you can watch it all the way through from beginning to end. Sometimes people go to, especially if it's dealing with anything with African Americans, they go in with a preconceived notion about what they think they're going to see. Have you seen kind of a shift sometimes in the perspectives that people have when they come into the museum that you all run?
Well, I think it's when they get there, they kind of don't realize it's a total shock. Because I've run into two people that come in there. Either they were there before the museum was put up and say, okay, wow, y'all did something great. They fixed up the museum. Or they didn't expect the museum to be the way it is. So we spent a lot of time and effort putting it into picking out, because it's very difficult to get, I guess, to make the selection of who you want to put in the museum. It's a lot of African Americans that did a lot of great things.
Absolutely.
And to narrow that down
It's
just
is
a
tough.
handful.
Right?
I'm telling you, Indian Campaign, 1879, 1881, African Americans, 18 Congressional Medal of Honors. Indian Battles, 1881, 1899, African Americans, 9 Congressional Medal of Honors.
Amazing.
Spanish American War, 6 Congressional Medal of Honors. I mean, on and on. So it's hard to narrow down who you can actually put in there, because you don't have enough room.
Right. The building's only so big. Yeah. Right.
I would need a warehouse the size of Bethune-Cookman to put all the accomplishments that African Americans have done for this country.
Yeah. And people don't realize that, and I think because many of the textbooks don't feature or emphasize the contributions of African Americans, and that's why it is so important. The person who owns the pen writes the history.
Correct.
And our writers, our African American writers, if it weren't for what they have done and written about and shared with the world, we wouldn't know half as much as we know now, because we can see that Black history, at least, has been under attack for the last several years, and people want to rewrite Black history or whitewash it to the point where it doesn't look like we did or accomplished anything. And so it is so very important that we write these stories. And this governor, as I mentioned, is banning books. If he saw your coloring book, Rashida, he'd probably put it on the ban list.
Yeah,
because of the pictures that you got in it. My book has been banned. We're not crazy. There's racism in this country, so that's what we're up against almost on a daily basis, just trying to fight to get our stories told and to get people to know what we've accomplished. So what are some of the lesser known soldiers, Brian? You mentioned some of the medals that have been won, but are there some little known soldiers who have kind of done some incredible things besides the ones you've already mentioned?
Can I say, I want to interject right quick.
Yeah.
Our past commander, Willie Branch, his great uncle was the first officer, the first Black officer of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And so he's featured in there.
Wow.
One of our founding members was a Tuskegee Airman. So, I mean, there's a lot of things like that. So I just need to interject that.
that's good. And that's some of the lesser ones. I mean, I don't really have it that's a lesser. Like I said, most of the time you're looking at soldiers who have done things.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the soldiers that are in our museum right now are basically the Rambos.
Right.
I mean, they don't know. Nobody knows about them.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But our members.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Our members.
Purple Heart.
Yeah, we got Purple Heart
Bronze.
members.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've incorporated in the museum is mixing hometown heroes with national heroes. So like my Vietnam box, it has our hometown hero, which is Mitchell Gibbons. Mitchell, you listening? I'm mentioning you.
Okay.
You better be calling.
Okay.
But he got a Bronze Star in combat in Vietnam.
Wow.
Don't nobody know about that. I mean, he's right there in town in DeLand, walking around every day.
Wow. And
But he
people
was
don't even know who he is.
yeah, he's a hero.
Yeah.
And it's lesser known.
Yeah.
So-
And there's so many stories that are just like that, where you walk past people that you don't know what they've done. And these stories, I think, are so vital to young people like the young folks that you brought with you today, and Tyler, who's a young person in her own right. She's got an old soul, but she's a young person, and they need to know all of these contributions, because we have a proud history, we have a great history, and we need to share it as often as possible. And so let's kind of shift a little bit, because as you mentioned, Brian, there was a time when African Americans weren't even considered part of the regular army, if you will. They kind of had their own units, separate and apart from the white soldiers. So how have things evolved when it comes to Black soldiers and their roles and their responsibilities from those early days to where we are right now? How have they kind of evolved and achieved greater opportunities and status?
Well, I believe that they evolved. When African Americans first went into the military, they were basically laborers.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't trust
Or
African cooks or laborers
Yeah.
or something like that, where they didn't actually trust them to actually do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the years and through the accomplishments of Congressional Medal of Honor winners and Black people with pride, and showing that they got the courage and ability, we've actually been able to move all the way up till you got from 1917 all the way up to 1991. You got Colin Powell, who's commander of the units all over in the Middle East fighting the Gulf War. He actually ran it. Schwarzkopf worked for him.
Yeah.
So as a commander, so he was actually the man. The Secretary of State ran everything.
Yep.
So I think that we we've actually evolved and moved into different positions through our skill and dedication. Just like on the basketball field, on the basketball court, football field, they could see that we could play, we could do it. And they could see in the military, hey, they could do it. They could do it. So we could fight. We got tank commanders. There's this guy right here that was in my box for World War II. He was a tank commander, got hit. So he wasn't a laborer. He was a tank commander. So he had to do something to prove that.
Yeah.
So.
And those roles have have shifted as we know, because just achieving rank was a difficult thing. Back then. And one of my favorite movies is A Soldier Story, where the I think he was a lieutenant, he was sent to the base to investigate the murder of a sergeant.
Yeah.
And the black soldiers on this military base had never seen a commissioned black officer. Yeah. And they were just so proud when he got on the base that he was able to kind of give them a sense of, we can achieve things too, and we can get this rank and be great leaders in our own right. And that's so vital for our people to understand and to know that they did achieve this greatness. 386-868-3411, 386-868-3411. It is 31 minutes past the hour of 12 noon, and you're listening to the #1 radio broadcast and talk show in Volusia County. This is Let's Chat America. We are all over Volusia County, and we are all over the internet. Those of you who are watching us and you can see us, we'd love for you to put a comment, if you'd like, on the Facebook page. Tyler with that comment, and we'll get it on the air. If you want to call in, you can do that too. Pick up the phone and just dial those 10 numbers. So what challenges, Brian, and I guess Rashida as well, what challenges do African American veterans face when it comes to telling their stories and getting that recognition, I mean, how can we get their stories out beyond your museum? Because I don't know if there's another museum that focuses on African American military history anywhere in this region that I know of. So how can we kind of expand and get those challenges and those African American veterans who contributed so much? How do we expand it? How do we make it even greater?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Still trying to figure that one out.
Okay.
I mean, I know for me, for me, if we can get them to come to the museum and contribute to the museum.
Okay.
Between our museum because we're out promoting it and doing community events.
Right.
So if we can get them to come down and see it, which we actually did Memorial Day. We did the memorial service at the land. And then we had people actually show up to the museum because that's what we promoted.
Right.
They could come and see. And when you get there, you actually get to not only look at the museum, looking at both sides of the walls of the museum and all the artifacts and the pictures and the information. We actually show a movie or a video that we put together that walks you through history. So you can actually sit down and go from the Revolutionary War all the way up to Space Force. Where you can actually see,
Space Force.
and there was a black commander who runs Space Force.
Yeah, that's true. People don't know.
They don't know that.
Yeah.
So we in space too. Don't let them fool you on Star Trek.
Yeah, they think they're going to the moon and leaving us here. No, we going too.
Yeah, we running it too. We sending Elon up there. He ain't getting there without us, as usual.
That's right.
But I mean, they look at the video, and they can see history all the way through, all the way back around. And that's what they were doing Memorial Day. We're going to be doing the same thing on Veterans Day, because we'll be running that as well. So if you're in the community and you want to get your story out, the best way, in my opinion, is to bring it to the American Legion, who's going to promote it.
Yeah.
So that way we
American Legion Orange Baker Post 187.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because not all of them
They
do
don't
that.
all do it. Yeah.
I had another post, American Legion Post asked me, how do we do it? And I was like, because they was asking me about that. I was like, well, it takes a little bit, but, if you want to get your story out, people, bring it to Orange Baker Post 187, and we can, incorporate it into what we're actually doing, because we're actually trying to promote that. Because we want African Americans to be known for what they do.
Sure.
One of the things that we have on our wall for our hometown heroes is that I put a slogan up there that says, "You'll never be forgotten as long as you're remembered." So,
Wow.
And that's why I got pictures of hometown soldiers in there incorporated on the back wall in the museum, just to let people know that not only do we recognize the national people, but we also recognize the local people.
Yeah.
So if you got something, come and share it with us,
Yeah.
so we can get your story out, that make it more personal for you and your family, your relatives. You might have a cousin or aunt or uncle, or they want to come by and see the rate. They can see you on the wall. Hey, there you go. He wasn't lying.
Right.
And that takes support.
Yes.
Because we are, just a museum there. We don't have any kind of income that comes in and everything. We're very unique. The other American Legion posts, they have what other things they have. But we don't do that. We don't have that. So, so we need the support to be able to do that, to be able to go around to different places with our mobile museum.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are listening and not watching us on Facebook, Brian is sitting here in the studio with me, and he's got on a Buffalo Soldiers cap. I'm going to segue a little bit, Brian, because a lot of people may not know what or who. They've heard maybe the term Buffalo Soldier, but kind of share with the listeners a little bit about what that hat really means.
Well, it's about the Buffalo Soldiers who fought in the Spanish-American War. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, but it took the Buffalo Soldiers to save Teddy Roosevelt. Because him and the Rough Riders went in there thinking they're going to bum rush somebody and got their butt handed to them.
Okay.
And it took the Buffalo Soldiers, the 9th and 10th, to come and save him. So, and that's how, I just wear that hat for that.
And that's a great hat, and we need to know that history, because the Buffalo Soldiers were fierce, and they were fearless. They really weren't afraid to get into the combat and make themselves to be known as being the kind of force that could change the course of a battlefield, and that's so very important. And people see the name Buffalo Soldier, don't know what it means, and the same thing like with the name cowboy. People associate the name cowboys with white cowboys. The name cowboy is what the black men were called. They were called cowboys because they called us boys.
Yeah.
And so they were cowboys, but when the name became popular and people started associating that name cowboy with someone who was rugged, someone who was, to be admired, white men started wanting to be called cowboys as well. And a lot of black folk don't know that. And so those are the kinds of stories that I'm sure your museum helps people to understand. Our history is so rich, and the more you know about it, the more you can express who you are to others in a way that allows us to stand out rather than stand back and go unnoticed. It is 38 minutes past the hour of 12 noon. My guests today are Rashida Denning and Brian, her husband, and we've been talking about American Legion Orange Baker Post. I got to get it right. 187. And Orange Baker was a real person. That's funny because my wife asked me before I left home today, who is Orange Baker? And so you told us who Orange Baker was, a real person. If you'd like to call in, you can still do that. I'm only going to have them for a couple of more minutes. So give us a call if you'd like. The number is 386-868-3411. That's 386-868-3411. 3411. And as I mentioned, Sunday morning, it's the first Sunday in June. In fact, it's June the 1st. And if you're not going anywhere to church, listen, I'm opening up to let you know and invite you to the Tubman King Community Church, 1090 George W. Ingram Boulevard, right here in Daytona Beach. I'm going to be bringing the message. Communion will be served. The Voices of Faith are the baddest choir in the land. So if you're not doing anything, you need to come on over to Tubman King Community Church. Sounds of Faith. They are awesome, and you need to hear them. 10 o'clock, we open the doors, and we will be right there. So let's get some final thoughts, you all, on what it is that you can offer people to kind of connect with you. Because I know you offer opportunities for volunteers, student interns to get involved. We kind of talked about that a little bit. But when people come into the museum, what do you hope that they leave with when they walk out the door? What is the message that you're really trying to impart to them before they go?
I know for me, I would want them to learn that they're gonna have to fight for what they want.
Okay.
You're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fight racism. You're gonna have to fight ignorance. You're gonna have to just plain old simple fight. Jesus had to fight. We gonna have to fight. So you're gonna have to fight. If you want to get something in life, you're gonna have to fight for it. So just understand that. And if nothing else, make sure you get a Black book section in your library, because
Home library.
they're a home library, because information's getting taken away left and right, and what you may see today, you might not see tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, the president is doing all kind of
Yes, he
he's
is.
doing all kind of stuff.
Yes,
I'm
he
telling you, 'cause I went to his website. I was looking up something for the museum, and it'll message will pop up and say, "Hey, due to the changes of the law that he signed, that the information is not correct."
Right.
So
Right.
if you can, get you some books for your home library, which it tells you the truth that you can pass on to your kids or tell them the truth, or make sure everybody knows the truth. Because, I mean, there was one time I looked in a book and I saw that, they were saying that we didn't come over here as slaves. We came over here free. We just put ourselves as slaves.
Okay.
I read it. I swear to God, I read it.
Okay.
I was like, get you some real
You
informational books,
Yeah.
and I hope that if you leave,
Yeah.
that you'll have the
Empowered.
Right. Yeah.
You'll have you'll start trying to get that for yourself
Yeah.
and for your family.
Oh yeah. Because people will, like I said, the one with the pen, has the power, and people will try to rewrite our narrative.
Yeah.
There was, I guess it was a few months ago now, but there was something that was said that we, as slaves, we really enjoyed our time as slaves, and we learned a lot as slaves that we were able to take with us once we were free. That helped us in our freedom.
Yeah, I think DeSantis said that.
Yeah,
DeSantis said that.
And that's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. But people believe it because if you got the pen, you got the power. And so these stories have to be written down. The truth has to be written down.
Yeah.
And shared with our young kids in school, and so they get the right information from trusted sources. Not from just picking up something and thinking, but because I see it on the internet, it must be true. And that confuses a whole lot of people. So give us how people can help. I guess we want the address of the post.
Yep.
We want any ways that people can contact you, is either by phone or by email or a website. Give us all that information so that if people want to contribute their time, their talent, their resources, give us that information on how they can get that to you.
All right. American Legion, Orange Baker Post 187. We are located at 415 West Voris Avenue, and it's spelled VOORHIS Avenue. We're in DeLand, Florida, 32720. And we have a bulletin outside of the building, so you can be able to look at that information if you get there and you're trying to reach someone and we're not open. But I am the commander, Post Commander Rashida Denning, and my phone number is 407-484-9858.
Repeat it again.
Phone number is 407-484-9858. And you can email us as well, AMER Legion Post 187 @gmail.com.
Repeat that email one more time.
AMER Legion Post 187 @gmail.com. And we have opportunities for high school students. If you are trying to earn your volunteer hours for Bright Futures, we'd love to have you. College students, we have different internships there if you're looking for nonprofit experience or museum studies, history, any kind of thing like that. Scouts, and just you can fulfill your badges and service projects through us. But we have a Victory Garden that needs a lot of help. So we have 8 garden beds, and so we would love to have assistance with that. We have a property that is there that we need, that needs clearing and things like that. It's a lot of things that we'd like to do. We have an Operation Pride project that is ongoing, where we are working to beautify the garden and the post area, and make it conducive for veterans. We're there for camaraderie and place to be able to come and relax. We have a lot of soldiers that come back with PTSD and things like that, and so having a place to go is and somebody that understands, that would be a beautiful way to be able to help them. Let's see, what else? Let's see. Oh, our current initiatives, I want to make sure that we mention that, because not only do we have the museum there, of course, we are there for our veterans and their families, and we have a health and wellness program that's going on. VA comes in, and we have Tai Chi. We have VR therapy, if you're not familiar with that, with virtual reality, but it is pretty awesome, and it helps with PTSD and stress. We have Red Cross that's coming in. We have different workshops to help with mental health. We have prostate cancer awareness and support. So we have prostate cancer conversations on Tuesdays, and we partner with Mayo Clinic on that. And there is a large influx of prostate cancer within our Black community, among our Black men, and so we have been trying to be on the forefront of that and assisting and helping with bringing, finding different services, getting awareness and knowledge of that. So if you are interested in that, you can come to our post. And suicide is a big thing in the veteran community, and so we have a Be the One suicide prevention initiative as well, where we've been helping veterans in crisis.
All right. That is outstanding. And Rashida, can you give us the operating days and hours that the museum is open? What days and hours of the week?
Usually Tuesdays.
Okay.
Tuesdays and the weekends, but you can always just call us and schedule a visit. That is why we need volunteers.
Yeah.
Because we need the help.
We actually just recently had the congressman come through. What's his name? I can't think of the guy's name. But anyway, he's a congressman for Florida. So but he actually came to the museum.
All right, so that's awesome. And now, if people wanted to donate, they could do that as well. They could send you a donation, a check.
Yeah, you can send a check.
Give us the address one more again.
Write the check out to American Legion Orange Baker Post 187, and the address, send it to 415 West Voris Voorhis Avenue, DeLand, Florida 32720. And you can also call, because we do digital as well. So if you don't want to write a check and you want to do it digitally, we can accept that. And you can give me a call, Rashida Denning, 407-484-9858.
All right, everybody, there you have it. A hidden gem right here in Volusia County in the city of DeLand. American Legion Orange Baker Post 187 has an awesome, when I say awesome, I mean awesome, an awesome museum that runs you the whole gamut of history when it comes to what African Americans have done through all of the conflicts that this nation has endured. You need to get over there. You need to find time. If school is going to be out and parents, you're going to be looking for something for your kids to do in the summer, it's a great opportunity for you to take them on a field trip to see this museum so that they will get a better understanding of what their ancestors have done to make America what it is today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. You've been listening to the #1 talk show right here in Volusia County every Thursday and Friday. As I mentioned, I will be at the Tubman King Community Church on this Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. You need to swing on by. We're going to have a great time in the Lord. Bring a friend and share that information. And Rashida, I don't know if you if you let everybody know you do have a Facebook page, and do you have a website?
We do. obpost187.com. But I want to put that plug in for Black homeschoolers of Central Florida.
Yes, that too.
I want to put that in there.
Yes.
We are located in DeLand at 1609 South State Road 15A, Suite number 1, DeLand, Florida. If you're looking for materials, things to and just information about homeschooling. We have parent workshops and all those kind of things. We have all kind of classes, tutoring. We do all of that. And if you are not familiar with PEP Scholarship or anything like that with the Step Up for Students, we can assist you with that. So just give us a call.
All right. And I'm running out of time, everybody. But listen, I'm holding up a great coloring book. And this was produced by Rashida. And it is awesome. You might want to get yourself a copy of this, and she will tell you how to do that. If you give them a call or you send them a message on their Facebook page, you'll be able to get your own. This is mine. You can't have it. So get your own coloring book so that you can get your kids and grandkids familiar with what they do. We love you. We'll see you next time. See you tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.
Thanks for
you,
listening.
brother.